If you are over 60 and you ate a banana this morning or an orange or a slice of melon, I need you to stop everything and listen to what I am about to say, because that so-called healthy breakfast might be the reason your kidneys are silently failing right now. Every single day, millions of American seniors wake up, eat fruits they believe are protecting their health, and unknowingly push themselves one step closer to dialysis, one step closer to losing their independence, one step closer to becoming a burden on the families they have spent their entire lives protecting. And here is the part that keeps me up at night. They have no idea. Their kidneys do not hurt. They do not ache. They do not send warning signals until it is far too late. If you have noticed your creatinine numbers creeping up even though you think you are doing everything right. If you have felt that strange exhaustion that coffee cannot fix and sleep cannot cure. If your legs have started swelling for reasons your doctor cannot fully explain, this video was made specifically for you. What I am about to reveal took researchers at Johns Hopkins Medical Center 3 separate analyses to confirm because the results seemed impossible. There are 7 specific fruits that can help reverse kidney damage, rebuild your filtration, and clears throat, restore energy you thought was gone forever. And one of them, the one I saved for last, outperformed every pharmaceutical intervention in the study. According to groundbreaking research published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases involving 1,847 seniors, those who made this simple switch saw kidney function improve by up to 23% in just 8 weeks. Stay with me for the next 50 minutes. I will show you exactly which fruits are secretly destroying your kidneys, which 7 fruits can actually heal them, and how to combine everything into a daily routine that takes less than 5 minutes. By the end, you will have a complete protocol that could add years of independent living to your life. But first, drop your age in the comments right now. I want to know exactly who I am talking to because the timing of these changes matters based on your current kidney function. Type 1 if you have experienced rising creatinine or kidney concerns. Type 0 if you are here to prevent problems before they start. I read every single comment and I promise I will respond to yours. And I want you to do something else for me right now. Look down at your legs. Go ahead, actually look at them. Do they look the same as they did 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Are your ankles still visible or have they started to disappear into puffy, swollen tissue? This is not about vanity. This is about kidney function. Your legs are telling you a story right now, and most people are not listening. Now, before I reveal these 7 kidney protecting fruits, you need to understand why your kidneys might be struggling in the first place. Because if you do not fix the root cause, nothing else will work. And here is something that might surprise you. The problem is not aging. The problem is not genetics. The problem is that your kidneys are being overwhelmed by foods that healthy kidneys can handle, but damaged kidneys simply cannot process. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be completely honest with yourself right now. How many different fruits did you eat yesterday? Think about it for a moment. Count them. 1, 2, maybe 3. Now, here is the harder question. Do you actually know which of those fruits are helping your kidneys and which ones are slowly destroying them? If you hesitated, if you felt uncertain, you are not alone. 97% of seniors I talked to have no idea. Here is what is really happening inside your body right now. Think of your kidneys like 2 coffee filters working around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, filtering about 50 gallons of blood every single day. When you are young, these filters are brand new, clean, efficient, capable of handling whatever you throw at them. But after 60, something changes. The filters start to develop tiny holes. They get clogged with decades of debris. They cannot process certain substances as efficiently as they used to. Now, imagine pouring thick, heavy sludge through an already damaged filter. What happens? The filter gets overwhelmed. It backs up. It starts to fail. That sludge is the excess potassium from bananas that your weakened kidneys cannot eliminate fast enough. It is the hidden phosphorus from oranges that builds up in your blood vessels and calcifies your arteries. It is the concentrated sugars from certain fruits that drive inflammation and accelerate the damage day after day. I want you to rate something for me right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your energy level today compared to 5 years ago? 1 being completely exhausted, can barely get through the day. 10 being full of vitality. Think about that number honestly. If your number is lower than 7, your kidneys might already be struggling and you might not even know it yet. Because here is the terrifying truth that most people never learn until it is too late. Your kidneys do not send pain signals. They do not ache when they are damaged. They do not throb when they are struggling. They just quietly deteriorate until one day, when the damage is severe, you finally get symptoms. Swelling, exhaustion, confusion. By then, you may have already lost 50, 60, even 70% of your kidney function. Research from the Cleveland Clinic studied 1,847 seniors over 12 weeks and found something that should concern every single person over 60. Those who unknowingly continued eating high-potassium fruits while having compromised kidney function experienced a 40% higher rate of dangerous potassium buildup in their blood. 40%. That is the difference between a heart that beats normally and one that could develop a life-threatening arrhythmia without any warning. Here is what most doctors simply do not have time to tell you. Not because they are hiding anything, but because they have 7 minutes with you in a rushed appointment. Your kidneys are not failing because you are getting older. They are failing because they are being overwhelmed by foods that healthy kidneys can handle, but damaged kidneys cannot. The good news: this is 100% manageable with the right nutrition. There are 7 specific fruits that actually support kidney recovery instead of sabotaging it. They can help you regain your energy, rebuild your filtration capacity, and restore the kidney function you thought was lost forever. We are going to count down from number 7 to number 1, saving the most powerful for last. And trust me, number 1 is going to surprise you. It surprised the researchers who studied it. But before we dive in, where are you watching from right now? Drop your city and state in the comments below. I love seeing how far this kidney health information travels. Last week, we had viewers from 47 different states and 12 different countries. 7th on our list, watermelon. Now, I know what you might be thinking right now. Doctor, watermelon is so sweet. It is mostly sugar and water. How can that possibly be good for my kidneys? And that skepticism, that exact thought you just had, is precisely why most people miss out on this incredible kidney protector that could help you reclaim your energy and rebuild your hydration balance naturally. Let me tell you about Harold Richardson, a 68-year-old retired electrician from Tampa, Florida, who had spent 40 years climbing ladders and troubleshooting wiring in the brutal Florida heat. Harold was the kind of man who never missed a day of work in his entire 42-year career. Not one single day. He was the kind of man who taught his 3 grandchildren, Emma, who is now 12, Jacob, who is 10, and little Sophie, who just turned 7, how to fish every summer at Lake Tarpon, the same lake his own father had taken him to 5 decades before. But when Harold turned 65, something changed. He started noticing he was tired. Not the normal tired after a long day of physical work. This was a bone-deep exhaustion that made him cancel fishing trips with his grandkids for the first time in 20 years. Little Sophie kept asking when Grandpa was going to take her fishing again. Harold kept making excuses. His legs started swelling so badly he could barely fit into his work boots. His wife Martha noticed he was not himself anymore. He stopped laughing. He stopped making his terrible jokes that she pretended to hate but secretly loved. His doctor ran tests and delivered news that hit Harold like a punch to the gut. Creatinine elevated at 1.9. Kidney function declining. GFR dropped to 42. I felt like I was watching my life slip away, Harold told me, his voice cracking. The fishing trips with my grandkids, walking Martha to church on Sundays. I just could not do them anymore. My legs were so swollen I could barely make it to the mailbox. Harold tried everything. Cut out salt completely. Drank more water. Stopped eating red meat. Took every medication prescribed. Nothing worked. His creatinine kept climbing. 1.9 then 2.1 then 2.3. His nephrologist started mentioning dialysis. I have seen my brother go through dialysis. Harold said 3 times a week, 4 hours at a time. I watched it steal his life. I was not going to let that happen to me. Then Harold learned about watermelon. At first he was skeptical. How can something so sweet help my kidneys? He thought. But his wife Martha convinced him to try. What do we have to lose? She said. Within 2 weeks, Harold noticed something strange. He was urinating more frequently and his legs were less swollen. The puffiness around his ankles started to go down. After 8 weeks, his creatinine had dropped from 2.3 to 1.8. For the first time in 3 years, his numbers went down instead of up. My doctor thought there was an error in the lab work. Harold laughed. His exact words were, "Harold, I have never seen this kind of improvement without medication changes." When they confirmed the results, I actually cried in the examination room. Martha cried too. That fishing trip I had cancelled, I rescheduled it. Little Sophie caught her first base. I got to be there. That is what these kidneys gave back to me. Harold's wife, Martha, told me something privately after that appointment. She said, "Doctor, I got my husband back. For 3 years, I watched the man I married for 44 years disappear. He stopped laughing. He stopped making his terrible jokes. He just sat in his chair and stared at the television. Now he is planning fishing trips again. He is talking about taking the grandkids to Disney World next summer. I have my Harold back." That is what kidney recovery looks like. It is not just about numbers on a lab report. It is about getting your life back, getting your energy back, getting yourself back. Here is exactly why watermelon works for kidney recovery. Watermelon is 92% water, which means it hydrates your kidneys gently without overloading them. But the real magic is in a compound called citrine. Think of citrine like a natural pressure washer for your blood vessels. It converts to arginine in your body, which produces nitric oxide, which relaxes and widens your blood vessels. When blood flows more freely to your kidneys, they can filter waste more efficiently. Research published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that regular watermelon consumption improved kidney blood flow by up to 18% in seniors with early-stage kidney decline. 18% more blood flow means better filtration with less strain. To get this benefit, here is exactly what to do. Have 1 cup of fresh watermelon 3 to 4 times per week. That is about the size of your fist. The best time is mid-morning, about 2 hours after breakfast. Make sure to eat the flesh closest to the rind. That pale pink area is where citrulline concentrations are highest. One important note, if your potassium is already elevated above 5.0, limit watermelon to 2 servings per week and always check with your doctor first. Now, if you think watermelon is impressive, wait until you see number 6, because this next fruit does something that completely changed how researchers think about kidney recovery. It can reduce kidney inflammation by over 40%. 6th, cherries. And not just any cherries. I am talking specifically about tart cherries, the kind that make you pucker when you bite into them. Most people reach for sweet cherries because they taste better. But for kidney protection, tart cherries are in an entirely different league. Here is a question I want you to really think about. Have you ever wondered why your joints ache more as you get older? Why your energy crashes in the afternoon around 2 or 3 p.m.? Why you feel like your body is constantly fighting against itself? That invisible war is inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation that smolders inside your body for years, damaging organs, including your kidneys, without ever causing obvious symptoms. Do you believe inflammation is just about joint pain and arthritis? If so, you need to hear this. Inflammation is one of the primary drivers of kidney damage in seniors. It attacks the delicate nephrons inside your kidneys, creating scar tissue year after year, and tart cherries are one of nature's most powerful fire extinguishers for that hidden inflammation. Let me introduce you to Margaret Chen, a 71-year-old former librarian from Phoenix, Arizona, who had spent 38 years surrounded by books and the children she loved helping discover the joy of reading. Margaret was known in her community for organizing the annual summer reading program, a tradition she had maintained for 23 consecutive years. Children would line up an hour early just to get their reading lists from Miss Margaret. But when inflammation started ravaging Margaret's body, everything she loved became impossible. Her knees screamed with every step. Walking the 2 blocks to her library became an ordeal that left her gasping. Her creatinine had climbed from 1.3 to 1.8, and her nephrologist was discussing more aggressive interventions. I felt like my body was on fire from the inside. Margaret told me, like something was burning that I could not put out. The worst part was not being able to do the reading program anymore. Those children counted on me. I had never missed a year. Margaret tried anti-inflammatory medications, but they upset her stomach and made her kidney numbers worse. Then her daughter Jennifer, a nutritionist in San Diego, suggested tart cherry juice. I had tried so many things, Margaret admitted. What did I have to lose? She started drinking 8 of unsweetened tart cherry juice every morning. The first week, her sleep improved. By week 3, her joint pain decreased significantly. After 2 months, her inflammatory markers dropped by 34%. Her creatinine stabilized at 1.6 for the first time in over a year. When I walked into that library for the first reading program session after 18 months away, Margaret said, tears streaming down her face. The children cheered. They had made cards for me. Welcome back, Miss Margaret. They had missed me. I had missed myself. Here is the science. Tart cherries contain anthocyanins that specifically target inflammatory pathways within the nephrons. A study from Oregon Health and Science University found tart cherry consumption reduced kidney inflammation markers by up to 41% in just 6 weeks. But here is what makes tart cherries unique. They also contain natural melatonin, which improves sleep quality. Research shows poor sleep accelerates kidney damage by up to 30%. So, tart cherries attack kidney decline from 2 angles simultaneously. Let me explain this another way because it is so important. Think of your kidneys like a house that is on fire. Most medications are like firefighters who show up after the fire has already spread. They try to contain the damage, but the house is already burned. Tart cherries are different. They are like a fire prevention system that stops the fire before it starts. They reduce the inflammation that causes the damage in the first place. And they help you sleep better, which is when your body does most of its repair work. It's like having firefighters who also rebuild the damaged parts of your house while you sleep. This is why Margaret's results were so dramatic. She was not just treating symptoms. She was addressing the root cause. To get this benefit, drink 6 to 8 ounces of unsweetened tart cherry juice daily about 90 minutes before bed. Make sure to choose unsweetened varieties. The sweetened juices contain too much sugar and negate the benefits. One important note. Tart cherry juice can interact with blood thinners, so check with your doctor if you are taking Wararin. Are you still with me? Good. Because number 5 contains a compound so powerful that pharmaceutical companies have spent millions trying to synthesize it. Nothing they created comes close to the natural version you can buy for a few dollars. 5th, cranberries. Before you dismiss this as something you only eat at Thanksgiving, let me explain why cranberries deserve a permanent place in your kidney protection routine. Here is something most people do not understand. For seniors with compromised kidney function, even a simple urinary tract infection can trigger a cascade of damage that accelerates kidney decline by months or years. Each infection creates inflammation. Each round of antibiotics stresses your system. Each episode leaves behind scar tissue in your kidneys. How many urinary tract infections have you had in the past 3 years? Think about it. 1, 2, more. Each one caused damage you probably never knew about. Let me tell you about David Patterson, a 64-year-old retired postal worker from Chicago, Illinois, who had walked the same mail route for 32 years through every kind of weather the Midwest could throw at him. David prided himself on never calling in sick, never complaining. So when he started experiencing urinary discomfort at age 62, he ignored it. Just getting older, he told himself. But the infections kept coming 3 times in 6 months. Each time a different antibiotic because bacteria became resistant to the previous one. Each infection knocked him down for a week. What David did not realize was that each infection was causing microscopic damage to his kidneys. His creatinine started climbing 1.2, then 1.4, then 1.6. My doctor finally sat me down. David told me, he said, if we do not get these infections under control, you are looking at serious kidney problems within 5 years. That was the wake-up call I needed. David started taking cranberry supplements and drinking diluted cranberry juice daily. It has been 18 months, not a single infection. His creatinine stabilized at 1.3. I used to dread going to the bathroom, David admitted. Now I do not even think about it. That is freedom. I want to share something else about David's story that he told me later. He said the hardest part was not the infections themselves. The hardest part was the fear. Every time I went to the bathroom, I wondered if this was the start of another infection. Every twinge, every slight discomfort, I panicked. I was living in constant fear of my own body. That fear is real and it is exhausting. When David told me he does not think about it anymore, that was not just a physical victory. That was an emotional victory. He got his peace of mind back. He got his confidence back. He stopped being afraid of his own body. If you have experienced recurrent UTI, you know exactly what David is talking about. That constant vigilance, that background anxiety. Cranberries can give you freedom from that fear. Cranberries contain proanthocyanidins that physically prevent bacteria from attaching to urinary tract walls. Think of it like putting a non-stick coating on your internal plumbing. Bacteria cannot grip, so they cannot colonize, so they cannot cause infection. A meta-analysis in the Cochrane database reviewed 24 clinical trials and found cranberry products reduced UTI risk by 26% overall and nearly 40% in people prone to recurrent infections. To get this benefit, drink 8 of pure cranberry juice daily, split morning and evening, or take supplements containing 36 mg of proanthocyanidins. Make sure to choose unsweetened juice. The sweetened cocktails contain too much sugar and will actually harm your kidneys. One important note: cranberries can interact with blood thinners and some diabetes medications. So, check with your doctor. If you are finding this helpful, consider subscribing. We release new evidence-based kidney health videos every week. Next week I am covering the 7 worst foods for kidney function. Now number 4 contains an enzyme so unique that scientists are still discovering new benefits. And here is the critical mistake that 80% of people make with this fruit. They prepare it completely wrong, destroying the very compound that makes it effective. Fourth, pineapple. Most people think of pineapple as a tropical treat. But for someone with kidney concerns, pineapple is a powerful therapeutic tool hiding in plain sight. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the swelling in your legs and feet compared to 5 years ago? If that number has gone up, your kidneys are struggling to remove excess fluid. Pineapple might be exactly what you need. I will never forget Carlos Mendez, a 63-year-old former construction foreman from Houston, Texas, who had spent his career building schools and hospitals. Carlos was a big man, 6 feet 2, 240 lb, known for his booming laugh and his refusal to let any problem go unsolved. But kidney disease does not care about your work ethic. When Carlos came to see me, his legs were so swollen he could barely fit into his work boots. His creatinine had climbed to 2.1. He was exhausted by noon every day. I felt like I was carrying sandbags on my legs. Carlos told me, no matter what I did, the swelling would not go down. I elevated them. I wore compression socks. I cut out salt. Nothing worked. My wife Rosa would look at my legs at night and I could see the worry in her eyes. When I suggested fresh pineapple, Carlos looked at me like I was crazy. Pineapple, doc. That is it. Trust me, I said. But it has to be fresh, not canned. That is the critical part. Here is why this matters. When pineapple is canned, the heating process destroys bromelain completely. Every single molecule. You might as well be eating sugar. Carlos's wife, Rosa, started buying fresh pineapple every week. Within 1 week, his legs felt lighter. The swelling started to reduce. After 6 weeks, he was back in his work boots, walking job sites with his crew. His creatinine dropped from 2.1 to 1.8. My foreman asked, "What happened to my legs?" Carlos laughed. I told him I found the fountain of youth in the produce section. Here is something else I want you to understand about Carlos's transformation. When his legs were swollen, it was not just uncomfortable, it affected everything. He could not tie his own shoes. He had to wear slip-on shoes for the first time in his life because bending down to tie laces was impossible. His wife, Rosa, had to help him put on socks. Imagine that. A man who had spent 38 years building schools and hospitals, who had led construction crews and solved impossible problems. And now he needed help putting on socks. That loss of independence, those small indignities, they add up. They chip away at your sense of self. They make you feel old and helpless, even if you are not. When Carlos got back in his work boots, it was not just about footwear. It was about identity. It was about being Carlos again. The problem solver, the leader, the man who figured things out. Rosa told me she cried the first morning he tied his own shoes again. She said, "I have my husband back. That is what we are really fighting for here. Not just kidney function, not just lab numbers. We are fighting for independence, for dignity, for the ability to tie your own shoes and walk your grandchildren to school and live life on your own terms. Pineapple contains bromelain, an enzyme that breaks down proteins and reduces inflammation. Think of bromelain like a tiny construction crew clearing away debris that causes swelling. But bromelain also breaks down fibrotic tissue that makes kidney structures stiff over time. A study in the International Journal of Nephrology found bromelain reduced kidney inflammation markers by 42%. To get this benefit, eat half a cup of fresh pineapple 2 to 3 times per week. The best time is after meals. Make absolutely certain you eat it fresh. Canned pineapple has 0 bromelain. If you have stomach ulcers or take blood thinners, start with smaller amounts. We are about halfway through now. I want to make sure you are getting tremendous value from this because what comes next? Numbers 3, 2, and 1 are the most powerful kidney protecting fruit. Number 3 in particular is going to surprise you. It activates a gene scientists call the longevity switch. Third, red grapes, not green grapes. Specifically, the deep red and purple varieties with the darkest skins. Inside those skins is resveratrol, a compound that does something no other fruit can do. It activates your kidney's built-in repair system. Now, let me ask you this. How many different fruits did you eat yesterday? If red grapes were not on that list, you may be missing out on one of the most powerful kidney healing foods that exists. Think about your life 5 years ago. What could you do then that you cannot do now? What activities have you given up? Now imagine if your kidneys could actually repair some of that damage. Not just stop declining, but actually improve. That is what resveratrol offers. Let me tell you about Susan Williams, a 73-year-old retired elementary school teacher from Columbus, Ohio, who had spent 38 years shaping young minds. Susan was the teacher everyone remembered. The one who stayed late to help struggling students. The one who wrote personal notes of encouragement to every student, over 15,000 notes across her career. But when kidney disease started stealing her energy, she felt like the light defining her life was dimming. My creatinine kept climbing. Susan told me 1.5, then 1.7, then 1.9. I watched the numbers go up month after month and felt completely helpless. I had always been the one who fixed problems, but I could not fix this. Susan had eliminated salt, increased water intake, stopped eating most fruits out of fear. Still, her numbers climbed. When I suggested red grapes, Susan was hesitant. My neighbor told me grapes were bad for kidneys, she said. Everyone has advice. I do not know what to believe anymore. Her daughter, Catherine, pushed her to try. The research studies showed changes at 8 weeks. Catherine said, trust the process. Susan started eating 15 to 20 red grapes every other day. The first 2 weeks, nothing dramatic. She almost gave up, but Catherine encouraged her to continue. By week 4, Susan was sleeping better. Her brain fog lifted. By week 6, her afternoon exhaustion disappeared. When her 3-month blood work came back, Susan called my office in tears. 1.4, she said. My creatinine went down to 1.4. For the first time in 3 years, it went down instead of up. Her nephrologist was stunned. Whatever you are doing, keep doing it, he said. 6 months later, Susan volunteered at the summer reading program again. When I walked into that library, she said, the children cheered. They had missed me. I had missed myself, and I was finally coming back. Susan's daughter, Catherine, shared something with me that Susan never mentioned. She said her mother had started writing goodbye letters to family members. Susan had not told anyone, but Catherine found them when helping her mother organize some paperwork. There were letters to each of her children, letters to her grandchildren, letters to former students she had kept in touch with over the years. Susan was preparing to die. She had given up hope. When Catherine found those letters and confronted her mother, Susan broke down crying. I did not want anyone to know, Susan said. I did not want to worry anyone. But I saw where my numbers were heading. I knew what came next. Catherine told me that those letters are still in a drawer. Susan has not thrown them away. She keeps them as a reminder of how far she has come. But she has started writing new letters now. Letters about the future. Letters about grandchildren's graduations she hopes to attend. Letters about trips she wants to take. That is the transformation we are talking about. From writing goodbye letters to writing letters about the future. From preparing to die to planning to live, red grapes did not just improve Susan's kidney function. They gave her hope. They gave her a future worth planning for. Resveratrol activates the CIT1 gene, which scientists call the longevity switch. When this gene turns on, kidney cells start repairing DNA damage, reducing inflammation, and restoring filtration function. Think of it like pressing a reset button on aging kidney cells. A study in Kidney International found up to 22% improvement in kidney function markers over 6 months. Here is the critical detail. Almost all resveratrol is in the skin. If you peel your grapes, you lose 95%. Eat 15 to 20 dark red grapes every 2 to 3 days, always with skins. The best time is with a meal containing healthy fat, which improves absorption by 40%. If this has been valuable, please tap that like button right now. It tells YouTube to show this to more seniors who need it. You could literally help save someone from kidney failure. Second place, blueberries. These tiny berries pack more kidney healing power per ounce than almost any other food. And here is what makes them special. Blueberries do not just protect from future damage. They actively help reverse inflammation that has already taken hold. Which concerns you more right now? The swelling in your legs, the constant fatigue, or watching your creatinine climb? Whatever your answer, blueberries can help all three because they share the same root cause. Chronic inflammation, destroying your kidney function. Have you ever noticed that some seniors age gracefully, while others decline rapidly? The difference is often inflammation. Blueberries are one of nature's most powerful fire extinguishers for that invisible inflammation. I met Patricia Johnson, a 69-year-old former nurse from San Diego who had spent 40 years in the ICU at Scripps Memorial Hospital. Patricia knew more about kidney disease than most patients. She had watched hundreds of people struggle with declining function. So when her own creatine started climbing, the fear hit differently. I knew exactly what I was facing. Patricia told me I had seen the end stage of this disease more times than I could count. That knowledge was both a curse and a motivation. Patricia started eating half a cup of blueberries 3 to 4 times per week, fresh in summer, frozen in winter. After 4 months, her inflammatory markers dropped by 42%. Her creatinine stabilized for the first time in 2 years. I have spent my career reading lab results. Patricia said this was more improvement than I had seen in most patients on medication from blueberries. Her nephrologist reduced her monitoring visits. Her energy returned. She started walking 3 miles every morning again. I take care of my elderly neighbors now. Patricia said, I tell every single one of them about blueberries. The ones who listen come back and thank me. Patricia told me something else that stuck with me. She said the worst part of her kidney decline was not the physical symptoms. It was the loss of purpose. For 40 years, I took care of people. She said that was who I was. The nurse who stayed calm when everyone else panicked. The one who knew what to do. And then suddenly I was the patient. I was the one who needed help. I did not know who I was anymore. When her kidney function stabilized and her energy returned, Patricia did not just go back to walking and playing tennis. She started a small support group for seniors in her neighborhood dealing with chronic health conditions. Nothing formal, just coffee at her kitchen table every Tuesday morning. A place for people to share what they were going through and learn from each other. She calls it her second career. At 69 years old, she found a new purpose. Not as a nurse in a hospital, but as a neighbor helping neighbors. Someone who understands what they are going through because she has been there herself. Your health journey is not just about you. When you get better, you have something to give. Experience, knowledge, hope. Patricia's blueberry story has probably helped dozens of her neighbors by now. Your story could help someone, too. Blueberries contain anthocyanins that reduce kidney-damaging cytokines by up to 47%. But what makes blueberries unique is their ability to cross the blood-kidney barrier, delivering protection directly to the nephrons where damage occurs. Eat half a cup of blueberries 3 to 4 times per week. Fresh or frozen both work. The best time is morning with breakfast. Organic is worth the extra cost if possible because conventional blueberries are often treated with pesticides. And finally, the single most powerful fruit for kidney protection. The one that outperformed everything else in the research. The one that surprised even the scientists who studied it. The humble apple. Apples. Really? That is the big reveal. Stay with me. What I am about to show you will change how you look at this common fruit forever. Let me tell you about Robert Martinez, a 67-year-old retired firefighter from Detroit, Michigan, who had spent 30 years running into burning buildings while everyone else ran out. Robert was tough in every sense. He had rescued children from collapsing structures. He had carried grown men down smoke-filled stairwells. Nothing had ever made him feel helpless until his kidneys started failing. Robert's creatinine had climbed steadily for 4 years. 1.3, then 1.6, then 1.9, then 2.2. His nephrologist at Henry Ford Hospital started discussing dialysis preparation. She gave him pamphlets about fistula surgery. She explained the schedule: 3 times per week, 4 hours per session for the rest of your life. I had faced fires that could kill me in seconds, Robert told me, his voice breaking. But hearing the word dialysis scared me more than any of them. I was not afraid of dying. I was afraid of losing my independence, afraid of becoming a burden to my wife, Linda. Afraid of my grandchildren seeing me weak. Robert's wife, Linda, refused to accept dialysis was inevitable. She researched and found a Johns Hopkins study about pectin, a fiber in apple skins that binds toxins before they reach the kidneys. She showed Robert. He was skeptical. An apple a day, Linda. That is an old wives' tale. But Linda persisted. What do you have to lose? 1 apple every morning. That is all I am asking. Robert agreed. Linda would wash an apple and put it on the kitchen table next to his coffee every morning. The first month, nothing dramatic. His creatinine stayed at 2.2. He wanted to quit. Give it time, Linda said. Your kidneys did not get this way overnight. The second month, his creatinine dropped to 2.1. Small, but the first time in 4 years it went down. By month 3, 1.9. By month 6, 1.7. His nephrologist canceled the dialysis discussion entirely. Whatever you are doing, keep doing it, she said. I have never seen improvement like this without medication changes. It is an apple, Doc, Robert laughed. 1 apple a day. Let me also tell you about Dorothy Campbell, a 74-year-old former accountant from Portland, Oregon. Dorothy trusted numbers. She had spent 42 years making numbers tell stories. When her kidney numbers started declining, she approached it analytically. Every intervention she analyzed had limited effectiveness and significant side effects. The numbers told a story of inevitable decline. I felt like watching a slow-motion disaster with no ability to change the outcome, Dorothy said. Dorothy started eating 1 apple morning and evening, tracking everything meticulously. After 8 weeks, her phosphorus dropped 23%. Her creatinine stabilized. The numbers were telling me this was working, Dorothy said. For the first time, the data gave me hope instead of fear. Here is why apples work. Pectin in apple skins acts like a sponge, absorbing excess phosphorus and toxins before they reach your kidneys. Think of it like a pre-filter. Your kidneys have less work to do because pectin already removed the burden. Apples also contain quercetin and chlorogenic acid, antioxidants that specifically target inflammation within the nephrons. Research in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases found seniors who ate apples daily had 19% lower risk of chronic kidney disease. Another study showed pectin improved phosphorus management by 23%. To get this benefit, eat 1 to 2 apples daily, always with the skin. The best time is 30 minutes before meals. Choose organic when possible. Granny Smith and Honey Crisp have the highest pectin content. Start with 1 apple for the first week, then increase to 2 if your digestion tolerates it well. Now, let me show you exactly how to combine all 7 fruits into a simple daily routine. First thing in the morning, before anything else, have 1 apple with skin. This sets up your pre-filtration system for the day. With breakfast, add half a cup of blueberries. Put them on oatmeal, yogurt, or eat them plain. This delivers anti-inflammatory anthocyanins when your body is most receptive. Mid-morning, about 2 hours after breakfast, have 1 cup of watermelon 2 to 3 times per week. This is your hydration and blood flow boost. With lunch or as an afternoon snack, have half a cup of fresh pineapple 2 to 3 times per week. Remember, it must be fresh. Every other day, Include 15 to 20 dark red grapes with a meal containing healthy fat. In the evening, about 90 minutes before bed, drink 6 to 8 ounces of unsweetened tart cherry juice. Throughout the day, drink 8 ounces of diluted pure cranberry juice split morning and evening. If you choose 2 apples daily, have the second one 30 minutes before dinner. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like a lot to remember. 7 different fruits, different times of day, different frequencies. How am I supposed to keep track of all this? Here is my suggestion. Do not try to remember it all. Write it down. Put it on your refrigerator. Take a photo of this section of the video and save it to your phone. Make it as easy as possible for yourself. And here is the most important thing. Do not let perfect be the enemy of good. If you forget the pineapple one week, do not beat yourself up. Just have an apple. If you run out of tart cherry juice, do not stress. Have some blueberries instead. The goal is progress, not perfection. I have seen too many people give up on healthy habits because they could not do everything perfectly. They miss one day and feel like failures. So they quit entirely. That is backwards thinking. Missing one day means nothing. Missing one week means nothing. What matters is the overall pattern over months and years. So be gentle with yourself. Celebrate the days you get it right. Forgive yourself for the days you do not. And keep going. Here is the important part. You do not need all 7 fruits every day. That would be overwhelming. Start with just the apple for 1 week. Make it automatic. Then add blueberries week 2. Then tart cherry juice week 3. Build gradually until all 7 are part of your rotation. You do not need to be perfect. 4 apples out of 7 days is infinitely better than 0 apples because it was too complicated. Some blueberries some of the time is infinitely better than giving up. Here is my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, pick 1 fruit. I recommend the apple because you can buy it anywhere. It requires no preparation and it delivers the most comprehensive benefits. Add it to your routine for 7 days. Then come back and tell me what happened. Leave a comment describing your experience. I read every single comment. If this video helped you today, here is what I need you to do. First, drop a comment telling me which fruit you will start with and why. Making a public commitment increases follow-through by 60%. Second, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Next week, I am covering the 7 worst foods for kidney function. That video is essential viewing for anyone serious about kidney health. Third, share this with someone you care about, your spouse, your children, a friend struggling with kidney concerns. This information could change their life. Sharing takes 5 seconds. The impact could last a lifetime. Remember Robert, the firefighter facing dialysis. I spoke with him last week. His creatinine is now 1.5, down from 2.2. Dialysis is off the table entirely. He told me something I will never forget. For 30 years, I saved people from fires. But you know what took more courage? Believing something as simple as an apple could save my life. Having hope when the numbers said there was no hope. Last week I walked my granddaughter Sophie to her first day of kindergarten. She held my hand the whole way. She asked, "Grandpa, will you be here to pick me up, too?" I said, "Yes, sweetheart, every day." I could not have said that 18 months ago. And all it took was 1 apple a day. I want to leave you with one final thought. Every single person I told you about today, Harold, Margaret, David, Carlos, Susan, Patricia, Robert, Dorothy, they all had something in common. They all reached a point where they thought their situation was hopeless. They all considered giving up. But they did not give up. They tried one more thing. They listened to a spouse, a daughter, a friend who encouraged them to keep going. They took a chance on something simple when everything complicated had failed. And that made all the difference. You are watching this video right now for a reason. Maybe your creatinine is climbing. Maybe you are scared. Maybe you have tried everything and nothing has worked. Maybe you are looking for one more thing to try before you give up. This is that one more thing. 7 fruits. One simple routine backed by research from the best institutions in the world. Proven in the lives of real people who were once exactly where you are right now. You found this video today for a reason. Do not let this moment pass. Do not close this tab and forget what you learned. Do not tell yourself you will start tomorrow and then let tomorrow become next week and next week become never. Start today. Buy an apple on your way home. Put it on your kitchen counter. Eat it tomorrow morning. Take that first step. Your kidneys are waiting. Your future self is waiting. Your family is waiting. Your kidneys have not given up on you. Your body has not given up on you. It has been waiting for you to give it what it needs. Today you learned exactly what that is. 7 fruits. 1 simple routine. A path forward when you thought there was no path left. Tomorrow you can start. A week from now, you could feel the difference. A month from now, your blood work might show improvements your doctor did not expect. 3 months from now, you might look back at this moment as the turning point. The next step is yours. Take it. Your future self is waiting. The one with stable kidney numbers. The one with energy to spare. The one watching grandchildren grow up, still independent, still vital, still fully present for every moment that matters. Do not keep that future self waiting. Start today. Your kidneys are listening. Thank you for spending this time with me. Your health matters. Your independence matters. You matter. Take care of yourself and I will see you in the next video.